Hello, my ravishing readers. Welcome to my home. How have you all been since I saw you last? Boy, do I have a read for you today. Today's story, The Pauper Princess, takes us to a small town in the famine-torn country of Alvaran, where a poor girl, executed for stealing, discovers that sometimes the best life is after life, and then after death. Confused? Well, grab all your best story listening gear, dig out your favorite snacks and drinks, and join me to meet The Pauper Princess. The Pauper Princess. Chapter 1. The executioner's blade came down, swift and merciless, parting head and body in a single stroke. The people watching caught their breaths, mothers covering the eyes of children, men murmuring sorrow in tones just low enough not to be heard by the soldiers. The girl's body fell to the floor. Her head landed next to it, setting down with a thud. Her eyes blinked once, twice. The head spoke. Well, that hurt. Chapter 2. Cora had never expected to see Prince Dacian again. Still, once, long ago, the pair had been closer than siblings. Cora had been a fortunate child. She had been born to a couple madly in love with one another, young and healthy enough to build a life for themselves even on the harsh land of Alvaran. Reinald and Benita had built the town bakery from the ground up, from the immense ovens that roared and bellowed like dragons woken early from their rest, to the tidy white shop where the most delicious of their wares sat neatly on patterned paper plates. Cora had grown up in the kitchens of the bakery, arms deep in bowls of dough, face and neck always dusted with flour or icing sugar. Cora had been 6 when she'd found the boy hiding in their shop. He'd been young and thin, his clothes fine but torn and ragged, his body clearly marked by the fall of heavy fists. He'd been crying softly, trying to hide it, as though ashamed, but the tears had overspilled his eyes and slid down his fevered cheeks. Cora had knelt before him. "Hello, boy, do you need help?" "No," the boy had shouted, scrubbing at the tear tracks that streaked his face. Then, yes, please." "Okay," Cora had said. "I'll help you. What's your name?" "Prince Dacian Michelangelo Frederick Dorian I. Anything shorter?" Cora had asked. The boy thought for a moment, then said, "Dace." Cora had helped Dace up and led him out behind the shop to the family rooms. She had used a cool cloth to wipe the tears from his cheeks, tugged off his ruined shirt and tended his wounds, then given him her only spare top for his own. It had been early still, so Cora had led Dace to the kitchen and fed him toasted bread with honey. It was while they were eating that, casting nervous smiles at each other, that Cora's father had appeared. "Hi, Dad," Cora had said. "We have a guest." Cora been bracing for consequences. Life was tough in Alvaran, and the sharing of food without permission was strictly forbidden. Her father's paddle, hung on the wall in his study, was a firm reminder of that. But Cora had decided as soon as she'd seen Dace's crying eyes that he was worth the punishment. Cora had expected an immediate order to go to his study. Instead, Reinald had pulled out a chair and begun to talk to Dace. At first, Dace had been taciturn, but using some magic Cora hadn't known he possessed, her father had charmed the boy. In the end, Dace had told them everything about his life. The cold rooms, the merciless tutors, the distant father interested only in his achievements and never in his needs. Finally, he had revealed that he was the Prince of Alvaran, the king's sole heir. They should have cast him out right then, for fear of what the king might do if angered. Her father had been about to when Cora said, "I pledge for him." Reinald had raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure you're prepared for the consequences of that decision?" Cora had nodded. In her family, pledging to someone meant taking responsibility for the person and for all of their actions. Reinald had turned to Dace. Prince Dacian. Dace. The child had interrupted. Dace. Cora has pledged herself to your behavior. Therefore, you are welcome in our home any time you wish to come. Just remember that if you transgress my rules again, it is Cora who will suffer from it. Oh, Dace had said. Thank you. Right then. You should head home now, but if you would like to come back on Saturday, I will teach you to make bread. Dace had been there first thing Saturday morning, with a new bruise on his cheek but a bright smile on his face. That day, he had burned a dozen loaves, but in the end, he had baked right. Over the next weeks and months, the little prince had become a part of Cora's family. For 8 years, he had spent every second he could steal away from the court in their presence, flower in his cuticles, flower in his hair, and laughter in his voice. Despite his early hesitation, Cora's father had treated Dace like his own son. About the time they turned 13, Cora's tenderness for her brother Prince had taken on a new dimension. She had begun to love him, deeply and truly. Cora finally decided to tell Prince Dacian how she felt on the evening of her 14th birthday. Cora and her father had arranged the party, a proper party, with wine and dancing and fine pastries. Cora had put on her new dress and worn her hair down. She had stood at the window waiting to see Dace walk down their path. And she had waited and waited. The guests had gone home. Cora had watched until the candles sputtered out, but she had never seen Dace again. Chapter 3. Now Cora was on her knees in the marketplace, arms held at her sides by the guards who were restraining her, and above her, grown now, a man in the full majesty of his estate, was the boy she had prayed for every evening without fail. Dace? The word slipped past her lips before she could restrain it. The prince stiffened, his eyes flashing with fury. What did you say? Dace? Cora whispered. You're here. You are a prisoner, a thief. The prince spat. How dare you address me so informally? It's me, Cora, Reinald, the baker's daughter. Don't you remember me? Cora. The prince whispered the name, as though tasting it. He looked at the guards. What has this woman done? Thievery, sire. The guard replied. She was caught stealing bread. I was starving. Cora said. How much bread? The prince asked. 4 loaves. Yesterday's loaves. They had been left on a bird table. Cora protested. She read the judgment in the prince's eyes. In Alvarin, to steal more than 2 loaves meant death. Wait, before I go, allow me a minute alone with the prince. Cora begged. The guards burst out laughing and started to pull her away. No. The prince interjected. I will allow it. The guards threw Cora to her knees in front of him. Well, Prince Dacian demanded. What do you want? What happened, Dace? On my birthday all those years ago, why didn't you come? Something trembled in the prince's face, then snapped. The boy Dace appeared, peering out from behind the windows of the ruler. I meant to. He whispered. I was ready and dressed. I even had a present for you, but then my father found me. He saw my best clothes and my face glowing with delight to see you, and he exploded, whipped me, then tossed me into a carriage for the northern wall. He told me that I would remain there until my weakness was purged. Cora winced. The stories about the wall are awful. The truth is worse. The prince said, my father's men chained me, starved me, worked me without rest. For a full year, they beat me every day, and at the end of it they would force me to name the person to blame for it. Me. Cora whispered, tears pricking her eyes. So they said. Dace murmured. But they were wrong. It was my father's fault, not yours. I'm so sorry. I wish I had been able to help you. Cora whispered. But I prayed for you every night. I never forgot you. What about you, Cora? Dace asked. Why are you here, like this? When I left you, you were safe with your father. There was a blight, Cora explained. The price of flour went up. The winter was harsh, and Mother's lungs had never been strong. She died. Dad wasn't the same after she died. One morning, 3 months later, he didn't wake up. Debts had built while my parents were ill, so the bailiffs locked up the bakery and I became this. Was there no one to help you? Dace asked. Only men who offered scraps at a cost too high for me to bear. I am sorry, Dace said, but you have still committed a crime. I know, Cora said. Just do one thing for me. What? Dace asked suspiciously. Here. Cora handed him the necklace she had long kept hidden securely beneath her peasant's robes. It was a silver pendant studded with diamonds, exquisite and expensive. I did not steal for myself, my prince. There is a group of children I care for. They have no parents, no homes. It was for them I took the bread. This necklace belonged to my great-grandmother. It was meant to be my dowry. Of course, we would have sold it for food long ago, but the merchants all try to cheat the beggars. At most, I was offered 1/100th of what it was worth, so I kept it. I hoped for the future. No one will cheat you. Take the necklace, sell it to someone who knows its worth, and use the money to protect those children. Give them food and shelter. Make it my last request. Cora. The broken whisper did not belong to the Prince of Alvarin. It was the voice of the boy Cora had loved, the one who had sworn to stand at her side and protect her forever. The guards are here. The people are watching. You stole bread. In Alvarin, that is death. I know, Cora said. I cannot save you. His hand on the pommel of his sword was shaking. Cora drew a breath, squeezing her fists to still the trembling. I forgive you, Dace. Just save the children and remember me sometimes. The guards grabbed Cora's arms, pulling her away from Dace. They dragged her to the low stone block that had seen so many other hungry innocents lose their lives, forced her down, and raised the axe over her head. Cora whispered a prayer. The axe sliced down. No, wait. The prince called, but it was too late. Chapter 4. Cora's body fell to the floor. Her head landed next to it, sinking into the mud with a hollow thud. Her eyes blinked once, twice. Then her head spoke. Well, that hurt. Wait. What? Prince Dacian, who had been standing, stricken, with his hands over his eyes, looked towards the gruesome ornament in the dirt. I said that hurt. Cora replied. What is? Who is throwing their voice? That's a cruel joke. No one is joking. Cora said. It's me. You're dead. Dace protested. I don't think so. But they cut off your head. You can't be talking. Sure I can. I can still feel, see, hear, think. Cora paused. Scratching my nose may prove to be an issue. A pained laugh erupted from Dacian's lips. See? Cora said. I can still make you laugh. My Cora. Even in pieces, you're a nightmare. I take it, we're going to see your dad now? Yes, I should take you to the king. Can you clean me up a little then? Maybe get a cart for my poor body? Dace nodded to the guards, who borrowed a 2-wheeled cart and placed Cora's body on it. A trembling villager brought forth a damp cloth, and Dace cleaned Cora's face and brow with touching gentleness. He removed his cloak and wrapped it around Cora's head, carrying it as if he were cradling a baby as they set out for the castle. Cora? The prince said. Yes, Dace? I'm sorry. This should never have happened. I should have stopped them. Well, I'm still here, Cora said after a moment. We must hope it is for a reason. Chapter 5. The king of Alvaron was just as twisted and bitter as he had been when Cora had first known of him, with the dubious advantage of 8 years of aging to add to his awfulness. When he saw his son and the small company that had gathered around Cora's body entering the throne room, he blew his nose on a handkerchief stained brown, yellow, and green and asked in a thin voice, "Son, why do you bring the body of trash into my presence? Is this another one of your pleas to lessen the punishments for thieves? This is no trash." Dacian's eyes flashed with anger. "The body you see before you belonged to my friend, Miss Cora Rhine. And this is her head, which can speak." "Hello, sire." Cora's head greeted him. "Why is her head separate from her body?" the king asked. "She was convicted of bread theft," Dace admitted. "Then she deserved her death." "But she is not dead, father." The king squinted at the swaddled bundle in Dace's arms. "This is some parlor trick, I take it?" the king exclaimed. "Your idea of a prank, son?" "No, sire, I do not know by what magic it is, but Cora is still alive." Something cruel and sluggish turned behind the king's eyes. "Cora, the chit you ran away to spend your time with as a boy?" "My friend, yes." The king's disinterest vanished. He sat upright on the throne. "Foolishness. Such a thing could not happen. Throw the head in the incinerator and be done with it. There is no record anywhere of a spell that could make a head speak." "Your Majesty?" A tall woman in a purple and silver gown stepped forward. "There is the prophecy in the Book of Eltharion that when the head of a slain innocent can speak, it will mean, 'Quiet!'" The king bellowed, spraying spittle. "Archivist Amara." Dacian's voice held a calm confidence that it had never before possessed. "I would like to hear what you know. Speak it loudly, to the court if you will." Archivist Amara looked uneasy, but finally said, "In the 19th passage of the Book of Eltharion, it is said that a friend will slay an innocent woman. The gods, witnessing her grace, will give her head the ability to speak and—" The archivist's eyes flicked back to the king. "And?" Dacian urged. "If head and body are laid together, they will heal seamlessly, proving that the girl is the bearer of the Sang Alvari and the true ruler of our land." The Sang Alvari, the original rulers of our country, who ruled when there was peace and plenty. "Yes, my prince." Dace looked at his father and saw fury and fear, and he knew. In that moment, Dace understood what had been happening since he and Cora were children. His father had known, even when he was a child, sneaking away from him to make bread and biscuits in the bakery. His father had known that Cora's family were of the Sang Alvari. That was why he had tried to forbid Dace from getting close to Cora, why he had dragged him away to the northern wall. As for the later troubles of Cora's family, Dace was sure the king had had something to do with it. There was only one way to prove his instinct, however. He walked to the cart and pressed the stump of Cora's neck to her body. A bright light burst from the wound, the head and body sealing together in a heartbeat. There was a tremor, a gasp, and Cora sat up. "Guards, kill the creature!" the king cried. "Do not!" Dace barked. "Any man who touches her perils his life. Kill her now!" the king commanded. The guards looked between Dace and the king, then back to Cora. "No, father," Dace said. "We will not slay the bearer of the Sang Alvari." Dace turned away from the tyrant who had raised him and dropped to his knees in front of Cora. "I am at your command, my queen. Live or die, I am in your power." There was a moment of silence. Then, slowly, everyone in the room dropped to their knees. Cora stood, then reached down and drew Dace to his feet. "Will you rule by my side?" Cora asked. "But I failed you," Dace said. "You should execute me." "I have had enough of executions today," Cora said. Dace smiled. "Then yes, my queen, I am yours." Subscribe to become a delicious darling. Who would have guessed it? Cora was a queen in waiting all along. I have seen many strange things in my travels, but I have yet to see a head that talks independently of a body. What is the weirdest thing you have ever seen? Type odd in the comments and let me know. If you have ever dreamed that you were a prince or princess, please hit like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell to become an official delicious darling. I will be visiting the snowbound planet of Issen for the next few days for their Winter Wonderland festival. I intend to drink mulled wine and eat much too much fudge. Until I see you again, keep your toes toasty, yourselves snuggly, your friends wrapped in hugs. And sleep well, my delicious darlings.